Ask George is brought to you in association with International Cricket Tours. ICT are specialists in cricket-based holidays with a personal touch. So if you're looking at going to the Ashes, to New Zealand or to Sri Lanka, look no further than International Cricket Tours.
Well done on the clap. You even managed to get both hands together instead of looking like a demented seal.
Hello and welcome back to Headingley for Ask George. After day 3, we are of course joined by Chief Correspondent George DeBell and Melinda Farrell as well.
Don't I get a title?
Yeah, not generally to your face. My favourite bit of yesterday's show was the bit where she is crowing about having done the audio so well, and yet it was so bad it doesn't come out. I was lucky because you were crowing.
Yeah, I think that, I'm going to not say anything.
I once again find myself bringing us back to cricket here to start the show. Mike asks, with the first innings ending on almost the same score, what was the point? England could have had a couple of more days playing golf.
To be fair, we should just have a bowl-off. In fact...
A putt-off?
Well, no, we could have a bowl-off. That every test match should be decided by a bowl-off, because at the end of the day, all that really matters is the final result, right? Come on, enjoy the journey. What's his name?
Mike. I presume he works for the ECB. Great thoughts. I think they should buy you a blazer and put you in charge.
Well, it creates a classic shootout, isn't it? It's great. We like that. It's going to be good. It's all 4 results are possible going into the last 2 days.
I remember as a little boy hearing the news that the snooker was something like 17 all, and it all came down to a last man shootout. I thought, wow, that's a dramatic way to end a really boring game. But it turns out it was quite a boring way to end a boring game. Anyway.
I've just been commentating on the first ever triple super over in the history of professional cricket. So I'm all for, let's just do super overs or bowl-offs.
England's captain Ben Stokes made 20 today. We all agreed at the time that it was a shot that looked a lot like someone that was batting for the second time this summer.
You've got deja vu.
George Young asks, at what point do we start to question Stokes' place in the top 6? 2 years since his last century, averaging 33 since 2020.
He's not an average cricketer. Oh, come on now, George.
Yeah.
Head out your...
Come on. Yeah, I agree. He also hasn't played that much lately.
No,
he's
had half a foot or leg or whatever the problem's been. So he's just been patched up, and he hasn't looked after his personal records at any stage, has he? Those marathon bowling spells we've seen, the way he's batted. But we also know he's fantastic, as good as anyone you'll ever see under pressure.
And
he's won England 2 World Cups, been the key person in the finals.
Yes.
And loads and loads of innings. And yeah, he's had a bit of a tough time with things. And yes, we might be coming to the home stretch of his career. Let's see. This latest fitness drive may have given him a few more years. But I can't honestly think that you can think anyone else should be leading the side or anyone else should be batting at 6. He's a great cricketer, and you bear with him through the inevitable thick and thin, surely.
I thought you'd finished. Sorry. I was just going to say, in a similar vein, you just think of the times when he has played those great innings. There aren't that many players around the world who are truly clutch cricketers. And Ben Stokes, time and time again, has proved to be a clutch cricketer. And it's always for the team. Like he rises to whatever the team needs to. It's not going to happen every time, but that's just the kind of cricketer he is.
3 fourth inning centuries against Australia. Every one of those innings is pretty much great. Anyway, they didn't all work out, but in fact, I think only one of them did. But I don't know. I'm surprised you'd ask the question, to be honest. Surprised and disappointed. But look, there's a point there, isn't there? He needs to bat more. I mean, that's the point that Oscar's making. And if his body can't allow him to play as much as he needs to, that becomes a real issue. And yeah, he looks as if he could have done with another game heading into this. And I think they probably tactically made an error not doing that.
This game could look a whole lot different if India had taken their catches, and that leads us nicely on to Richard Prue's question. For a side where so many of the players have developed playing in the IPL, how can India's fielding standards be so poor?
Well, They have lost a couple of really good fielders in those players that have recently retired in Virat and Rohit. That's a big difference. I think it's quite different to concentrate for 20 overs and 120 overs. I think that's a really big thing. And again, I think they're probably just a bit out of practice, catching a red ball, concentrating for this length of time, all those sorts of things. But yeah, it's made a major difference. I think they dropped 4 chances. And none of them were that difficult. Maybe the one to punt was trickier. But I think it's a fair question. It's an area of weakness they'll need to improve. But, Virat and Rohit were very, very good. And they're missing that.
Yeah, that was, in fact, you can read my piece on that because they have left big shoes to fill in a few different ways. One of them is in the fielding. I'm so used to seeing Rohit make, he was starting to become a little bit less sharp, I guess, in the slips at the very last part. What?
I was going to say you should read her piece because it's smutty, but also it's very good on this subject. It's very good.
Yeah, right.
It's full of innuendo. In your endo.
In your mum, no.
What? Too much.
Subscription is just £1 for the first month.
And maybe we'll be able to buy some lights. They couldn't hear us for 2 days. Now they can't see us, so that's for the best.
It
You had
is
a choice.
on this topic as well. It is interesting that on the Sky Sports coverage, who have the benefit of the enhanced stump mic, when Ben Duckett dropped his chance late in the day, a very similar position to we saw quite a few of the chances go down for India, that the England players could be heard saying that it was quite tough to see, and I wonder if there's just something in the background that the thing. It is notoriously a difficult country to see the red ball at certain grounds, so it might be that.
It might be. Also, just remember though, Jadeja also dropped a catch, and he's arguably up there with Glenn Phillips as the world's best fielder. I think you could make an argument. So, even the best.
This is a question I'm sure that will delight George. Bobby Smith asks, it will go under the radar, but was Chris Woakes fending off Bumra and the second new ball a key part of this match?
I was a bit worried for Woakes, if I'm honest. I feared that this might be a test too far. But actually, he has contributed, hasn't he? And he balances the side, and he played really well. What did he get, 38 or something? 2 successive sixes. And it was just another reminder of what a brilliant player he is. If he gets these wickets he requires for 200 test wickets, he'll be the second quickest in terms of test to ever do it for England's men, behind Ian Botham. That's a hell of a record. So he needs 19, and who knows whether he'll get there. We're clearly quite near the end. But what a cricketer he's been. I mean, it's amazing to me. Just briefly, if you'll let me on Chris Woakes, he's been a swing bowler in the age of Anderson. He's been an all-rounder in the age of Stokes. He is a naturally modest man, but what a fantastic career he's had. And yeah, there was a nice little echo of the player he used to be. Hopefully he still is. This evening, I'm a bit worried about him with an injury. It looked like when he was batting, he had hurt a side or a groin or something, but he was able to bowl. I just wonder what the repercussions of that may be, but we'll see in the days to come.
Yes, I think with the bat was not potentially the concern. It was with the ball in the first innings, and that leads us nicely onto Aklak's question, which is beside Stokes and Archer, if fit, Australia aren't going to be too worried about England's bowling attack, are they?
Well, there's Wood as well, eh?
Yes.
Well, let's see. I'm sure that Australia will start that series as favourites. How many bowlers do you need? So we're saying apart from what? Are we saying apart from Stokes, Archer, Wood? Well, you only need one more, really. There's not too much to be worried about. But well, let's see. England haven't been at their best. Carson's going to play, and Carson looks like a terrific cricketer. He's still learning and growing, but I think Carson will play a huge part in the Ashes and in this series. So I don't know. As I say, Australia are going to be favourites, aren't they? But we'll see.
Well, it's kind of funny because just yesterday on Ask George, we were talking about how...
Yeah, but no one heard it.
So I'm saying it again.
Yeah.
You might have to bleep out what I call him next. But we were talking about the fact that maybe the pitches are changing a bit. Kookaburra ball as well has changed a little bit. So that statistically it's been more like a Scott Boland type bowler who has been getting wickets in Australia rather than necessarily the out and out pacers. So yeah, it's a bit of an unknown still, but it's also it just feels to me like so far away, and we've got these 4 tests to go for, and I know there's always that argument about, you know, everything always having to relate to the Ashes down the track as well, but. Who knows? One of the bowlers that we've seen here may end up doing some really great things in this series. We might not have seen it so far.
No, right. We've just started.
We've only started. How many days in a test, George?
Well, up to 5.
And how many tests in this series, George?
5. Conversely, by the way, do you think England watched the World Test Championship final and were worried about Australia's top order? And they might have looked at that bowling attack and thought, you know, Dad's army, and what comes after them. Yeah, there's a big drop-off between Australia's first 3 seamers and their next 3 seamers. You don't think there is?
Scott Boland's pretty good.
Well, their next 3, he's one person.
Okay.
Ferguson Neal is amazing as well. He hasn't played at all for Australia.
Ferguson Neal's really good cricketer. He bowls at 75 miles an hour.
I like him.
So do I, but he's Sam Cooke.
Anyway, to bring us home
Not
this evening,
literally.
Sushan asks,
Bring us home.
did Smith and Brooke give away the advantage given by India's dropped catches?
Well, it's a really good question, mate, and I'm not going to give you a definitive answer. I just don't know. I've written about this, and I've written in about 1,000 words, I don't know. Because this is the way they play, and there is a great freedom and joy and selflessness about the way that particularly Brooke plays. He plays incredible shots. And I love the way he's not burdened by thought or care or his milestone or anything like that. But equally, yeah, it feels infuriating as hell when their trap is there very obviously and they hit the ball straight to them. They're not going to change. You know, this is what we've got for the next 6 months or whatever. Maybe the other side of the Ashes things will change. And it's infuriating, but it's joyous and it's fun and it's entertaining and it's infuriating.
Look, it's like watching a horror movie when you see someone hear a noise in the basement and then they go to check on the noise in the basement and you're sitting there screaming, why are you going in the basement? But you know what? If they didn't go in the basement, it'd be a really boring movie, wouldn't it? Oh, I'll stay here and be safe.
And
the word basement came up a lot more in this than I thought it was going to.
It always does.
I was thinking that. I was planning my outro and then all I could think about was basement. But
come on. What you got now then? Under pressure? Come on.
We are fascinatingly poised here at Headingley. And thank you very much, as always, for sending your questions, for watching. We will see you after day 4.